the story of the 7-year-old girl brutally raped in Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh last week. She is slowly recovering. Doctors say she started eating and walking. The child was picked up and allegedly assaulted by the accused Asif Irfan while standing outside her school last Tuesday. The details of the crime are so horrific that they remind you of Nirbhaya's brutal rape and murder here in Delhi. Now, in a new trauma, the child's photograph has gone viral on social media after someone snuck into the hospital and took a picture. The accused have today been sent to 5 more days of police custody. Meanwhile, there has also been a brazen attempt to communalize the rape with the social media, on the social media, with the right wing making comparisons with the rape and murder of an 8-year-old girl in Katwa earlier this year in Jammu and Kashmir. Well, we have here in the studio with us Flavia Agnes, senior advocate and women's rights activist. Also Karuna Nandi, advocate of the Supreme Court, joins us, and Lalita Kumaramangalam stays with us. Lalita Kumaramangalam, let me take this question to you first. There has been a lot of outrage, and rightly so, over this particular rape in Madhya Pradesh. And I remember when the Delhi gang rape happened, how much anger there was against Sheila Dikshit. At that time, you had protests, people coming out on the streets. Would you say that that similar kind of anger really needs to be directed at the Madhya Pradesh government today for what has happened?
I would say that there needs to be anger against everybody or in every state that any rape happens. You know, what is reported in the press is only the tip of the iceberg. There are far many rapes which have never been reported. Those that come to the notice of the media, which may be particularly horrendous or not, is what we hear about and what we read about. Outrage, it does not be, I mean, it should not be only restricted to one particular state or one particular community. The fact is that more and more people seem to have some sort of extremely dangerous and very frightening sense of impunity when they commit such heinous and horrendous crimes, and there are several reasons for it. Some of them, of course, are that the justice system takes very, very long.
But ma'am, I'm asking you about accountability, because if we demanded Sheila Dikshit's accountability in Delhi, why shouldn't we demand Shivraj Chauhan's accountability? Because I actually take exception when it said that this is not a political or should not be a political issue, because it should be a political issue. Women's safety, the safety of our children should be a political issue, front and center in every manifesto, every campaign, but it's not. So does Shivraj Chauhan, does the buck stop with him in Madhya Pradesh?
I agree that nobody can say that so and so should not be held accountable. The point is that when Sheila Dikshit was held accountable, she also immediately took action. In this case, the CM of Madhya Pradesh has done what he could. In fact, he has gone out of his way to say that child rapists will be given the death penalty and these people will be given the death penalty. Now, in the case, I am not saying that the rape was any less heinous, horrendous, etc. These ultimately are just words that we use because we have not been through the experience that perhaps those people have. And I mean, the best person who can tell you how bad she still feels about what happened to Nirbhaya was her mother, an extraordinarily brave lady whom I have interacted with many times, who keeps pointing out that perhaps the incidence of rape is not decreasing because we are not able to really access justice for the victims. The process is drawn out so long that old saying that, you know, justice delayed is justice denied.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But you know, Karuna Nandi, what we also saw, what we also,
the mindset of people is cannot be held, you know, to,
well, mindset is one thing, but there is another aspect. Ma'am, just one moment. There is another aspect of this case which has been rather alarming in the last few days, Karuna, which has been the blatant attempt to communalize it, particularly on social media, where you have the right wing, you know, bringing, you know, sort of religion into this, comparing it with the Katwa rape. And honestly, it seems to have completely backfired, this blatant attempt to communalize it. Karuna.
You know, on the one hand, the BJP spokespersons across channels are saying don't politicize this rape when the government is held accountable for what they are supposed to be held accountable for, right? And on the other hand, their own trolls and their own affiliates are saying that, oh, but look at this rape. the government was there, you know, the justice system is there, but the rapist is a person who has a Muslim name, you know, and so therefore they are sort of trying to build a false equivalence with the Kathua situation. Now, let me come to the second point first, since although the first point is far more important. The issue is essentially to deflect from the government, because the government is a BJP government, firstly, right? Secondly, the reason it's false equivalence is because there is no Muslim Ekta Manch that has come together. There are no BJP ministers coming out in support of the rapist. There are no marches with, you know, marches supported by members of the BJP in favor of the rapist in this case. Also, the Muslim community, in fact, you know, honestly, what has this got to do with them? Why? Just because there's this man with a Muslim name who goes out and commits possibly is accused of a heinous rape. Why does the rest of the Muslim community need to say anything? Yet, because the Muslim community today is so beleaguered, is so accused of anything that happens bad that happens in this country, and if God forbid that somebody, you know, who is an accused has a Muslim name, and they have in fact, but also they are probably absolutely outraged, right, with the sort of terrible attack on this child, and so they have come out and they have taken various steps. They have said that
exactly,
you know, they should wait for a conviction, but this person will be excommunicated, that he will not be able to bury the he will not be able to you know, be buried in the Qabristan, etc. There are various things that they've said, and they have expressed the same kind of upset.
Karuna, just let me take this to Flavia Agnes. This one
point you made on it's a political issue is a very important one.
Because
a political issue.
and I want to come back to you on that. And the point here, Flavia Agnes, is that, you know, have our conversations around a very horrific crime, you know, been reduced to, you know, to communalization of it? I mean, we're not having a serious conversation about what has happened here. A 7-year-old girl was raped, had a rod inserted inside her, nearly died. But look at the conversations we're having about this. We should be talking about why the new rape laws didn't work. Exactly. What is it that we need to do to ensure that there are fast-track courts that get these cases heard quickly? We're not having those conversations.
You know, you can see the deterioration in our country since the Nirbhaya case in 2012. It happened in December 2012, and people protested in one voice that something must be done. Among the rapists, there were Muslim and others, Hindus, but that didn't matter at all. Including in the Shakti Mills case, there were Muslim, there were Hindus. It didn't matter at all, because we had to protest against the rape and what's happening there, and we had to bring protective measures. All we can think of when a rape happens is stringent punishment. When Kathua rape happens, then Minister for Women and Child says death penalty, then everybody says yes, death penalty, and after death penalty it won't happen. Similarly, in Nirbhaya case also it was like, we want death penalty. But we are not probing deeper as to why these things happen, what kind of support that victim would want, what kind of state responsibility should be there towards the victims and not towards only securing punishment. I think now, by the time we say death penalty, we think our role is over. Whether central government, whether state government, whether any government, they say,
you're actually saying things have deteriorated since Nirbhaya. That is
absolutely the deteriorated and communalized,
which is
very horrific. We've seen what happened in Kathua. Now we are seeing here, just because these guys have Muslim names, then suddenly the chief minister says death penalty, something else happens. The BJP trolls come into action. You stigmatize an entire community. So every time the rapist is Hindu, then do we like stigmatize the entire Muslim Hindu community?
No, we don't.
And hold them responsible for this?
Absolutely.
And what kind of logic is this? I just fail to understand. We have to look at a law and order system. We have to look at our victim compensation system. We have to see where is the victim located into entire debate. What can we do? In this case, the injuries were so horrible, she had to be admitted in the hospital.
At least she's alive.
At least she's alive, and she will be treated while she's there. But what next? When she comes out, what next will happen?
No, so I want to ask the political class, Adil, that is there a way to have a serious conversation about women's safety, about these issues, make it a political issue, but one that goes beyond pointing fingers at each other? Like we saw that happen to Sheila Dikshit during Delhi, and now we're seeing it happen. Every time a rape happens somewhere, it's like it's your fault, resign. Is there a way we can move beyond that?
You know, the problem is whenever we seek accountability from the BJP, they say they're defaming India. There was a report recently which said that India is the most dangerous place for women. What did the BJP do? It retreated into denial. Now, let me tell you what is a marker of a civilized democracy degenerating into a mobocracy.
No, let me
when
come in
MLAs
here.
and ministers, ma'am, please allow me to complete.
That was absolute nonsense.
Madam, please allow me to complete.
There were no statistics. It was just a research based on perception.
Ma'am, I'll just come back to you. Let him finish.
I can't, allow somebody to talk such
Well,
nonsense.
that's your
I'm very
perspective.
sorry,
I
but-
disagree with you. We are still in a democracy, last I checked. Now, please hear me out.
Exactly.
The degeneration of
So
a
the whole
society is
research was
when
about
MLAs,
perception.
ma'am,
So
I don't
I'm
want to speak
equally
over your
allowed to
voice.
disagree with you, sir. It's not only you have rights.
I've heard you,
Everybody
madam.
has
Can I
the same
respond
Ma'am,
rights.
I'll come to you
Government
next.
data,
If you could
madam,
let him
that
finish making his
counters
point.
a lot of what you're saying and supports some of what the study
Yeah,
is saying.
and we'll
Let-
come to
let
that
Mr.
report
let,
later. We had a
the
whole
speaker
discussion on
speak.
that. There were a lot of disagreements about the way that report was researched, etc. But there are issues that report raises which I think we all have to come to terms
We have to
with.
introspect. That's important. If the government stops introspecting, then we're not doing our duty. Number one. Number two, a marker of a society degenerating is when MLAs and ministers obstruct the filing of a charge sheet in a rape case, when they carry out protest march in support of rapists. This has happened in BJP ruled Jammu and Kashmir previously. Was any action taken against them? We've seen it now, and now it's Mansoor. The Congress party demands exemplary punishment against the accused person. You appoint a special public prosecutor, but at the same time, it's high time you fix accountability. The maximum number of rapes have taken place in Madhya Pradesh. You can't run away from these facts. And each time, your standard modus operandi is you go into denial. This is not the way. This is not the way. Mouthing platitudes is not governance, madam. Mouthing platitude is not governance. This is the time for action. Make India safe for women. This is what needs to be done. Mr. Modi, the candidate in 2014 said, Nari Shakti, Beti Bachao.
But you're allowing
Those are all empty slogans.
Lalita
Look at the
Kumaravati,
reality.
Would you say that the attempt to communalize, ma'am, would you say that the attempt to communalize the Mansoor rape has been shameful?
Less powerful.
Would you say the attempt to communalize the Mansoor rape has been
Listen,
shameful?
it's easy to say the Mansoor race was communalized, but so was Kathua communalized.
Who communalized that?
just as
It
much
was
as you say
BJP.
you can't
There is
blame
not
the
an
entire
equivalence
Muslim
there, ma'am,
community
and you
for
know why.
communalizing this poor
By-
little child.
There is not an
ministers
equivalence with
will
Kathua.
in
You know that
Mansoor.
there is not an
Because now
equivalence
showed
with
up
Kathua.
that the
Support the
entire Hindu
rapist.
community is made up of rapists.
No.
This is the problem with
Who
so-called
said that?
liberal India. You're
No,
the
who
thinkers
said
and
that?
you keep
Who
telling us
said that?
we are the ones who
Please
do
give
this.
evidence of
Hindu
that.
community
Ma'am,
is
please give
made up of
evidence
rapists.
that
Everybody
anybody
has
said
been
that
saying,
Hindus
I'm
are
a rapist.
Have you
rapists.
You
read
are a
some of the
rapist. Is
press?
anyone
Have
saying
you
that?
read some of the press? It doesn't mean that just
Which
because
press,
I'm
ma'am?
the only one here who's from the BJP that when I speak, what I say is wrong.
No,
I mean,
no,
you all
ma'am,
can collectively
it's
make
a very
more noise
simple
than me, but that
question.
doesn't mean
It's a
I'm
very
wrong.
simple
Lalita
question.
ji,
Both
this is so
Mansoor
sad and
and
misguided.
Kathua were
You've been head of the
communalized. Both should
NCW.
not have been
I mean, do you
communalized.
care more about
You
your
can't
party
say
than
one
you
side
care
is
about
communalizing it and
you
the
know,
other
the women
isn't.
of this country and the children of this country?
Unfortunately, it's happening
It's
on
really
all sides,
deeply
and
tragic.
we all need to take collective responsibility.
But ma'am, it's
That's
a very
exactly what
simple
I'm saying.
question.
There's no point in pointing fingers
Two
at one
things
one
happened
side
in
and not the
Kathua.
other.
Two things happened in Kathua
And
that were different from this
reporting
case,
has
ma'am.
increased
Ma'am,
over
please
the last
hear the
8-10
question.
years.
Ma'am, please
The
hear the
number of
question.
rapes being
Please
reported
hear the
has
question.
increased,
Ma'am, please
regardless
hear
of
the
whether it was the
question.
Congress which was in power
Can you
or
please
the
hear the
BJP
question,
that was in
ma'am?
power.
Please hear the question. The question is, there were two things that happened in Kathua that were
Okay.
different from the Mansoor case. Number one, you did not have, as Karuna pointed out, ministers or any Muslim Ekta Manch coming out in Mansoor in support of the rapists, as happened in Jammu and Kashmir, where ministers in the government there, BJP ministers who then lost their jobs because Amit Shah came down on them. I mean, if they weren't doing anything wrong, why were they sacked from the government? They had to step down. That's one. Number two,
But
the
you
police
just said
charge sheet in
that
Jammu
Amit
and
Shah
Kashmir,
did come down
the
on
police
them, right?
charge sheet
We
in Jammu
pulled
and
the
Kashmir.
government down.
Ma'am,
We
can I
not
please
because of
finish
the
my
rape
question?
Nidhi.
Can I
That
please
is not
finish
the
my
reason
question?
why
staying
The
in power
police
in
charge
a
sheet.
state
Ma'am,
where
see,
we are
the thing
forced
is
to
that if you're not
compromise
going to
on
let
the
me
safety of
ask the
women
question,
and of a man
we cannot
like that
drown the
wonderful
facts out.
journalist
So I'm
who
going to
just
keep
destroyed
speaking as
Imani
loudly as I
broad
can
daylight.
to make my point, which is that the police charge sheet in Kathua said that this girl was targeted
you can
because she
speak as
belonged to a
loudly as you want.
particular
Please don't think
community
it's going to intimidate
so
me.
that that community could be driven out in that
I do.
particular area. They did not
And a
even
particular
allow her
party.
body to be buried there. So there is a big difference between Mansoor and Kathua, and hasn't there been a blatant attempt to communalize the Mansoor case? Every rape is horrific. Every rape is disgusting. Can we please look at it through that prism?
That is that the community of Hindus that was there in Kathua were the minority. Here the Muslims, the other community, is the minority. So let's not go into this. It's the press that has also been politicizing it. We
How?
all know which way NDTV
How?
leans. Forgive me for being so blunt on national TV.
No. That's
right?
because that'll earn you brownie
The point
points on
is
social
that
media
no
to
rape
say
should
that,
be
ma'am.
politicized.
It will
Regardless
earn you
of
brownie
whichever
points
side
on
we
social
may
media
belong
to make that
I know the press
unsubstantiated
doesn't like
charge.
to be found fault with, and I know you can shout louder than me, but that does not mean that I'm going to
can
back
earn
off from
brownie
saying what I
points with
want
your
to
IT
say.
cell.
I'm sorry to say, ma'am, you should
I'm
be
not
ashamed
saying
of yourself
mistakes were
today.
not made, but
You
you
should indeed be
yourself
ashamed of
have
yourself for
said
communalizing
that
an
because
incident
there
of
were
rape
mistakes made in
is
Jammu and
repulsive
Kashmir,
to say the
party
least.
president
It's
himself
despicable.
has
And this is
taken
coming
the
from
people
somebody
to
who's the
book
chairperson
and
of the
has
National
made it very
Commission for
clear
Women.
that such
It is
things are
just
not to be
despicable.
communalized. It's all very easy to only gloss over.
Can we
the rest
seek
of it and only
justice?
try and point find out
Can
the
you
faults.
ensure that there will be justice in a time-bound manner? Can you ensure better policing? This is what the country wants.
Listen,
Please do not communalize these
justice
incidents.
is also administered by
like
the
to come
justice
in after
administration
everyone
system. Why are you talking like
Who
a
is
child?
in power in Madhya Pradesh?
Justice is
Karuna,
also
Karuna,
goes through
I'm
the
going to give you the
entire
last
judicial
word.
process.
Karuna, I have a
the
minute
judicial
left.
process is
All right,
not
I'm bringing
linked
all
to the
mics down.
executive.
Karuna Nandi, the point is, how do we move forward from here? How do we have a sane conversation on violence against women in this country if everything is going to get communalized in this way?
The responsibility of the Madhya Pradesh government and the central government and all other state governments is absolutely clear, that they need to start doing the work, roll their sleeves up, instead of shouting Muslim victimhood or Hindu victimhood. At the moment, it is Hindu victimhood that has taken over the narrative in this country, and these people are trying to win elections on this basis. There is an election coming up. We cannot have our children and women be sacrificed to this altar. At the moment, Madhya Pradesh has the highest rape rate in the entire country. It has a very low conviction rate. If Lalita Kumaramangalam cares about the women or children of this country, and if other people in the BJP, they are very efficient at great communication, ab ki baar Modi Sarkar, bahut ho gaya nari par var, kuch kijiye.
All right,
Do
I have to
something
leave it there,
about
Karuna,
certain
tonight.
convictions
I have to
in Madhya Pradesh.
I have
Stop
to leave
talking
it
about
there
the death
tonight, but I
penalty.
think it
Make
was
the justice system
was
work.
important again to point out lots of the false equivalences that are being made and how we need to stay focused on the issue here rather than diverting. Every time a rape takes place, we're not now going to see the religion of the rapist or the victim or the survivor here.